Sorry, I'm a little late. I was just like dancing in my room, getting ready. Okay, just like we've been doing, I'm going to pull a card for all of us. Today is January 24th, 2022, and I'm super excited to be here to talk about day 4 of How to Manifest Journey. And thank you all for commenting and watching the replay. It's so good to hear what you're all calling in for this year. So this deck is actually Mystic Mondays, and I actually know Grace Duong. She was a guest on my podcast. If you want to listen to her episode on Awaken and Align. So let's pick a card for today. An energy. What is the Okay, how about we'll ask this. What is the universe, spirit, God, goddess calling us to show up as? What energy? Okay. The 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups. So obviously with every card, there is a shadow and a light side, and most people read this as a shadow side. They see this as an illusion, as not being able to choose something from many different choices. But I think that, kind of like we were speaking about yesterday about making choices, this is actually a great thing, because today is the first day in like 12 days since Mars has gone forward that it's actually moving a degree. So Mars is moving forward, Mercury is moving forward, Uranus went direct yesterday. This is the time when things feel like they're kind of coming out of that stuck feeling, that stagnant feeling. And now the road is open for you to dream and to there's like so many choices that are going to be available to us. And depending on how you deal with many choices, this can be either a great thing or it can be an overwhelming feeling of, oh my gosh, like, what do I do now? But for most of us, like me, who have felt maybe stuck for the past couple of months, since Mars went retrograde, for forever. It's been in Gemini forever, and not really being able to make decisions, right? Because Gemini is the sign of the twins, deciding between two things, doing things over twice. And I have a very, very Mars and Gemini story where, like, me and my partner started something, me and my business partner started something, and now we have to do it all over again, which we knew this was going to happen because of the retrograde, but we didn't quite realize that it would happen so literally in astrology. So now that all of the planets are moving forward, we're in this kind of open road phase where there are all these options. And this is Cups. So Cups is all about like what is emotionally fulfilling to you. And 7 is the number of spiritual wisdom. So I think you could definitely take this either one of two ways, like the shadow aspect, which is like, I don't know what to pick. There's so many choices. Which way do I go? Or you can look at this as there's so many choices, and it's really just up to me to just pick one and start from somewhere. And yeah, so just to reflect on yesterday, what we talked about yesterday in day 3, which was about setting your intentions. Most of you, even like in the comments, you wrote after the replay that you were setting your intentions and you were like very clear on what you wanted for this year. And today, day 4, is all about connecting to a higher power. So I'm just going to read the little quote here on day 4. We undertake certain spiritual practices to achieve alignment with the creative energy of the universe. Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. And if any of you have not done The Artist's Way, I highly recommend it. I did it twice, once in 2020 and once in 2022. And I really believe it helped me to write this book and just be creative in general. And creativity doesn't just mean like the traditional things that we think about, like music and art and painting. You are the creator of your life. You are the co-creator of your life. And I say that a lot in this book. And my editor was like, okay, we get it. But I really like wanted to keep repeating these concepts so that it was like really in your brain. So okay, spirituality and religion are two, in my mind, very different things. Religion to me is organized by people and an institution where you have rules and regulations, rules and laws, and a code of conduct. For me, spirituality is just a way of being. You just are, whether you are conscious of it or not, whether you are on a spiritual path or not, you are just a spiritual being, and we are all spiritual. And you have your own way of understanding this. At the end of the day, we're spiritual beings in human form. We are, this is what I believe, we are a particle of the greater consciousness, source energy that connects us all. So we are like, if you think of like a beehive, the hive is like source energy, and we are a little bee, but we're all the same, but we're different. You know what I mean? There's a duality to life. So when people say like unity consciousness and 5D, that's like, yes, of course, like spirit wise, we are all part of the same energy. But then as human beings, we also have to recognize our differences and the uniqueness that we bring into this world from our own experiences, our skills, our gifts and talents. So that's why the Leo and Aquarius axis, we're in Aquarius season right now, where the sun is said to have its fall because the sun is in its home sign in Leo. Like when you're in Leo energy, you are radiating the essence of your life force energy, your sun sign. This is like how you shine in your spirit, and it's like very heart based. This is like who you are deeply, right? The opposite or the sister sign is Aquarius. Because we know who we are individually, we are part of a greater collective, and each of us brings a uniqueness to the collective. And that's why Aquarius speaks about authenticity. So I'm just going to read two paragraphs from the book. And you'll kind of understand why I say this is a spiritual path. This is a spiritual path because you are expanding your awareness. As Don Miguel Ruiz writes in The Four Agreements, which is like one of my favorite books, by the way, awareness is always the first step, because if you are not aware, there is nothing you can change. Humans are gifted with the ability to expand our consciousness through intention, which directly expands our awareness. You can't change what you don't know, right? You have the capacity to think independently of your current circumstances. Let me redefine think for you. Your logical and intellectual mind will tell you all the reasons why you're living in a not so ideal home. That you need a new job because yours is terrible and soul sucking. That your relationships are somehow lacking, and on and on and on. If you think that way, inevitably you will look around you and your observations will reconfirm what your mind is thinking. However, we have the ability to raise our awareness above and beyond our current circumstances through visioning, intentions, and our connection to a higher power. That is why this is all about healing our belief in lack. By doing that, we are shifting our perspective. If your worthiness and happiness are contingent on outward material things like how much money you have or how big your house is, you will never be full. The material realm is temporal and, quite frankly, an illusion. Seven of Cups. OMG. I love when it comes full circle like that. I want to be clear that it's our right as humans to enjoy material things, but your happiness should not be attached to material gains, or you will never really fill that void and achieve more than superficial happiness, which can't by definition last. Manifestation is bringing your ideas into physical form. A big component of that is your belief system and your ability to feel abundant, that you can have a limitless number of ideas and that you will have an unending ability to pursue them. But how do you feel that way when your physical reality is not what you want it to be? When you are broke, have no friends, and are living with the bare minimum. That is why a true understanding of your being is necessary to fully understand who you are as a spiritual being in human form. Your divine birthright is abundance. It's a constant refrain in most major spiritual texts. So, okay. One thing that I definitely I started touching upon yesterday, and one thing that I definitely want to reiterate is being able to hold multiple truths at one time. That's being truly multidimensional. So, like being able to both accept your current reality, like having radical acceptance for where you are and taking responsibility for it and being like, yes, this is my life. I've made certain decisions based on my belief systems and what I believe to be true, and this is where I am. Like I have student loan debt, and I made certain decisions way back in the day when I didn't have like knowledge of debt and how that works as a student. And I made that decision, and that I am here where I am today, and I take full responsibility for that. So you go from like, obviously taking responsibility, but also holding others accountable. Like we weren't taught in school about debt and how crushing that could be. And at the time, everybody was taking out loans. So there is an onus also to the collective systems, right? That kind of like, again, illusion, tell us one thing, but really aren't telling us the truth in other aspects, right? I accept this reality. But also at the same time, I know and acknowledge that there is other possibilities out there. There is another way that I don't perceive of yet because I don't know, I haven't learned it, or I don't like see it with my physical eyes, but I can feel deep within my soul, my spirit, my soul, my connection to my God and goddesses, that there is so much more for my life than my student debt. So I can hold both truths, multiple truths at one time. It's not this or that thinking. Like this or that thinking is saying, I'm bound to my reality because I made this stupid decision when I was like 21 to take out student loan debt, and that's it. I'm fucked. End. Like no, I or the opposite, where people just completely bypass their real physical human reality of paying taxes, um, you know, being in debt, having real physical issues with your body, that's real too. And completely like bypassing that, thinking that like, oh, I'm just this spiritual being and I'm like not tethered to anything. Like that's dangerous too. So you have to be able to hold both realities in your mind, but knowing that there is another way above and beyond your current circumstances. So that's what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to continue reading. But maybe you've heard people say this kind of stuff, and then you look around at your apartment and bank statement and say to yourself, seriously? How can I be divinely abundant when I can barely pay my bills? I believe this kind of response stems from collective programming and economic interests that want to keep us feeling unstable, but it's also our individual beliefs. We will talk more about confronting our own beliefs in the coming weeks, but this is me reminding you that the ability to manifest and be the co-creator of your life is your birthright. It's a power and an ability that everyone has, even if you may not be feeling it yet. Manifestation is a process of co-creating with the universe. Being in a 50-50 partnership with a higher power is much easier than relying on yourself. And that is the biggest takeaway from this chapter is like, if it was just up to you and just you alone as a solid being, geez, of course it's going to be like overwhelming because you're like, I don't know. This is why we need community. This is why we need other people. This is why we need help from our guides. Connecting to this higher power will not only help you feel the flow of creativity, it will also help you to remember who you really are. When you make this connection, you will realize that you are not only a part of this universal consciousness, you are it. You are an instrument of universal power. It moves through you and can only be expressed by you. At the end of The Wizard of Oz, Glinda the Good Witch tells Dorothy that she had the power to travel home this whole time. This is the lesson of every hero's journey. They go off on a great adventure to seek the truth only to find out that they had the wisdom within them the whole time. Just assume you can and believe you can. Surround yourself with people who also believe and who have expansive minds, because that is going to make manifesting your dreams a whole lot easier. Cultivate a spiritual practice where you can tap into this infinite energy all day, every day. When we rely on our own abilities, it's very limiting. As individual humans, we can only go so far and only see so far. A higher power has a zoomed out vision, can experience multiple timelines and lives simultaneously in many different realities. So we can trust that this force knows what's best for us. For those of you who don't have a religious affiliation or have no previous spiritual practice, this is a great time to connect to a higher power. I usually recommend Mother Earth, the universe, or source. All these entities are non-denominational. They are open to your definition. When you are meditating, you will be calling upon this higher power for guidance and support. This is the incantation I usually use. Dear spirit guides, ancient ancestors, angels and archangels from the highest realms for the good of all involved. In many Western understandings of spirituality, God is way out there somewhere, and humans are separate from the divine. God or spirit is something that is outside of us. Based on what I've learned through my studies of Eastern spiritual tradition, I believe God is within us and all around us. I believe that God moves through us. This higher power uses us as vessels, which is why manifestation should be second nature to us. Our job is to connect to this higher power so that divinity can flow through us with right action. It is our innate power to create and destroy, and these are the two sides of the same sword. So I'm sure like most of you who follow me or like either on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, or you're even watching this, you have some kind of spiritual understanding or practice already, because I talk about this a lot. But really, for me, my understanding is this whole experience of manifesting and this whole journey is actually coming back to wholeness, which is the truth of who you are. I know it's like spoiler alert. Obviously, my publisher, needed a catchy title, How to Manifest, to get people's attention. But really, when I was telling my editor what this book is really about, it's really coming back to yourself. It's really coming back into wholeness. Because when you create from wholeness and you are back in your, like when you're aligned to yourself, there's no manifesting, there's no wanting, there's no chasing, there's no craving, there's no wanting, because it's already here. It's already available to you. You just have to tap into the energy of it. And obviously everybody says this in, the law of attraction, like attracts like. You have to become the thing that you want, and you have to become the energy that you want. And that's very much true. But how do you do that? It's through daily devotion, practice, tuning into this energy. So the exercise for today is create an altar, and I talk about how to do that, how I do that. Every day I go to my altar and I pray. I have a daily morning routine where I do some breath work, meditation. I tune into this energy. I ask this energy even before I come on here to use me as a vessel I asked this energy, like, how do you want me to show up? What will you have me do? What should I clear out? How can I show up every day? How can I use my gifts to bring more love and inspiration into this world? And then the go deeper exercise is to connect to a higher power meditation. And it's in this black box here. But please let me know if you have any questions as we're going along, or you want to share anything, your spiritual practice, or any other like things that you want to share in the comment section. But yeah, so just to reiterate, the exercise is to create an altar. So I have an altar for my ancestors. It's a place where I specifically channel their energies and connect with them. I have a photo of them, both sets of grandparents, and I have a candle there, some herbs, feathers, and crystals. I try to incorporate different elements onto my altar. I sit in front of it when I meditate, and when I do my full and new moon rituals there. Your altar is highly personal to you, so it's a sacred space. Make it your own. You can create whatever feels right to you, connecting to your intuition to help pick the best spot for you too. My altar is at a specific place in the northwest corner of my room because I believe that direction is where my ancestors wanted me to point it. North being like, facing north. There are many different traditions that correspond to the elements. To a direction, you can research more and find what's in alignment for you. Just from my own understanding, the north represents air, east is fire, west is water, south is earth. And yeah, so you can like create your altar so that you can go there every day. Sit in a quiet meditative state, talk to your guides, talk to your ancestors if you have them. And I always say ancestors, spirit guides for the highest good of all involved. And then you can just do this like little meditation to connect to the higher power so that like when you start to develop a relationship with them, it takes time, especially your ancestors, because not all ancestors want to come through, but there are some that are probably, and I just saw 2222, 4 twos when I said that, there are probably ancestors that have been sending you signs and have been wanting to communicate with you this whole time. And so I always say, for the highest good of myself and for my highest timeline, because not all ancestors are always there for the highest good of all involved. And also you want to like start creating a relationship with them by building trust and asking them like their guidance and giving offerings. And we'll talk more about that with the law of reciprocity, I believe in day 24. Okay, so just to look forward for tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 5, sadhana, which is a daily spiritual practice. Tomorrow we will be meeting again 10 a.m. Eastern time. Sorry about the change in time today. I actually have to head out soon. So yeah, I just hope that all of you have a beautiful day. And again, remember that this is all a journey. Like you don't have to figure it all out at once. And making time for spiritual practice or meditation when you're silent allows the universe and spirit to send you signs. And when you are aware of the signs, and I think it's day 6, we talk about signs and synchronicities. That's when you start communicating with the universe and you start taking inspired action in the right direction. So I hope all of you have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.